Let's do some health right here on TV3Newday. And it's been all about the women. Today, we are catering to the men in our life. So if you're a man, please pull a chair, take a seat. Let's have a little discussion on the male reproductive system, concentrating on infertility in men. But before I start with all of that, I would love to let you know that 3FM, our radio station, is going through a bit of a technical challenge. So we are off air right now, but technicians are working around the clock to make sure that we are back on air. So just in case you're tuned in and it's gone off, then please know that it's a technical challenge that we are going through. We'll be right back on air in no time. But just in case you flip to another channel, come back quickly because we'll be back on air soon. Now to our conversation. But even before then, before I get to Doc, let me just remind you this morning that Ghana Man Capsules is for you if you need vitality to enhance your libido and good blood circulation. In fact, it's actually circulating around our discussion this morning. So make sure you take 1 capsule or 2 capsules daily to man up as a man. Ghana Man, it is for you. Make sure that you get it for you and for your other male friends as well. Second one this morning is Prostajoy capsules for anything prostate related. Now, if you've got frequent and painful urination, incomplete emptying of the bladder, you can take 2 capsules in a day to treat it, but to prevent it, you can take 1 capsule in a day. Prostajoy, P with ease, P with joy. It's available in all pharmacies and herbal shops nationwide. If you want to buy in bulk, please call 0244 727028 or 0244 754380. You can also check them out online, www.ghanaherb.com, Ghana, G-A-N-A herb.com, and you are good to go. So straight to our conversation for this morning. Let's talk about male infertility, especially down here in Ghana or Africa. It's something that is rarely talked about, but it would interest you to know that same way it is with women when it comes to infertility, it is nearly as with men as well. Research is telling us that 30% of women go through infertility. But did you know that 30% of men also go through infertility, and the other is spread across other factors? Why don't we talk about it here in Ghana? Why is it so difficult for men to talk about it or even to tell their own partners that they have sexual or reproductive challenges? This morning, Dr. Promise E. Sephora. Cookie, your airway is not on point this morning. Sephora. It's not Sephora. Am I correct? Sephora.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means God rings a bell. So God is ringing a bell.
Sephora. God is ringing a bell for all the men to gather around to come and listen.
To us.
Okay, thank you so much for that one. Now, Doc is a consultant and an obstetrician gynecologist, and he specializes in both male and female fertility. Doc, thank you so much for your time this morning.
You're welcome.
Very glad that you're here. Let's cater to the men this morning.
Yeah.
And in my introduction, I mentioned that this is rarely talked about, but it's very prevalent in men as it is in women. Why don't we talk about it?
Well, I mean, to start with, when we say infertility, we basically are talking about the couple. And so the couple's inability to conceive after they've been together for 12 months with regular unprotected sex. So indeed, it's a couple thing. And then we know from all our research that for every 10 couple, in 3 of them, the problem is exclusively pertaining to the woman. In another 3, it's exclusively to the man.
And the rest
another
of the
3 is a bit here, a bit here.
Okay.
And then one of them, we say it's unexplained. We don't know.
Right.
But unfortunately, society, culture, upbringing, everything has focused, even research has focused a lot on the woman. Yeah. And that goes with a lot of trouble for the women, you know, including the social stigma, and they suffer the abuse, social isolation, a lot of psychological and emotional trouble for being in that infertile relationship. Even though, as a matter of fact, the problem could equally be
the man.
relating to the man, yeah.
I see. So, first of all, before we even get to the causes of male infertility, I just would myself, and even for the sake of our viewers, would love to understand the anatomy of the male reproductive system. What does it consist of?
That's a big thing you're asking for.
Is it? Break it down for us.
Yeah.
Break it down.
So, basically, we can
Yes, and if you can
see-
put that on the screen for us, exactly. So it's right that you can explain to us
good.
from here.
So the picture shows the male reproductive system. We have the testes on either side. Every man is born with two of the testes. And when a baby boy is in the mother's womb, the testes develop in the lower abdomen.
Okay.
And at some point during the growth, it descends down into the sac.
Where's Johnny?
Now, so those testes necessarily must descend.
They have to come
They
down.
have to come down before the baby boy is born, just so they can function properly. And as a matter of fact, in a few unlucky baby boys, the testy, one or the other or both, might get stuck along that journey of descending into the sac. And that also predisposes them to the problem of inability to produce sperms or some cancer of the testes, especially if it's not detected
Quick question,
and
please.
surgically brought down early enough.
There's not. Oh, so that's what I was going to ask. Clinically, something can be done to bring them down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes we're able to detect it before the baby is born through the scans we do.
Right.
And then we plan that if this baby is born by this number of weeks, we have to do that minor surgery to pull it down and fix it at the right place. Right.
But it must be done on time.
It has to be done on time.
If the baby is, say, 2, 3, 4 years, can it? It's too late.
Too late. Should be done before 1.
Before 1, so that's the latest. After 1, you can't do anything to bring the testes
like
down.
6 months, yeah.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So the testes are the major hub where the sperm production is done.
Okay.
Now, male fertility revolves largely around normal sperm formation.
Okay.
Right. And so the testes, the factory. So anything that would disrupt the function of the testes would give problem with the male's fertility function. So you see a long tube connecting the testes all the way, traveling through. I can come.
Yes, you can go to the board for us.
Beautiful. So then,
you can go down.
okay,
You can go down.
Go down, shoot from
Yes.
here. So this is the testes, and that's where sperm production takes place. Okay, and the sperm is produced here in millions on a daily basis, and they take about nearly 3 months to develop from state of production to maturity.
Okay.
And then once it is produced, it is stored at this part of the testis, and then during ejaculation, it travels down this long road through the prostate, and then it gets released here.
So you mean it travels up because the testis is already down? So
How did you know?
How did I know? Experience.
It is down here, right? Okay. So it travels all the way. So this tube kind of contracts to push it out, as though you are milking your yogurt.
Right.
So it travels all the way down through the bladder, base of the bladder, the prostate, and then it comes out.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So that any problem which would affect the production, anything that could cause blockage here, or anything that would make the penis unable to erect to let it out, would result in inability to impregnate the partner.
Now that you're done explaining all of that,
Yeah.
can you tell me and the viewers the causes
Right.
for erectile dysfunction or male infertility? Are they the same though?
No, they are not.
Exactly. So
They are
erectile dysfunction is different from male
infertility.
So please differentiate it for us.
So erectile dysfunction basically refers to the inability to have an erection which the man can sustain for a satisfactory sexual intercourse.
Okay.
Right. So it's purely a mechanical thing.
Right.
I mean, you're not able to erect, or you can erect, but it doesn't stay long enough for you to have adequate penetration, adequate sex, and ejaculate and get the pleasure. A lot of the time, it's psychological. Other times, it is due to some medical disorders, uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled hypertension, or high cholesterol, among others.
Okay.
Or somebody has had a bad accident that damages the spine. So the nerves that are coming to the penis are faulty. Excessive smoking also causes that, as alcohol consumption does.
Alcohol does that too. It causes erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
Excessive smoking.
Yeah. Because for erection to happen, you need a large volume of blood to flow into the penis. Now, excess cholesterol, alcohol, uncontrolled diabetes, smoking causes some blockage in the blood vessels that are going down into the testes as it goes. So limited blood is flowing there, so you can't have enough to get an erection.
It's weird that you say that, because ironically, here in Ghana, men would jump on any bitters at all that they find.
Which is the biggest
Telling
problem.
them that's what will make them perform in bed. How do you reconcile
the biggest
two
problem? Then? So it may do something transiently, but doesn't solve the underlying problem. And as a matter of fact,
it can actually give you some erection though.
Yeah, because there's something inside. I don't know the percentage.
What's the percentage of erection alcohol or those bitters can give you?
I don't have an idea.
But just a teeny weeny bit of it.
Because they add other things that medically we would have used in some measured doses. Sometimes they do that. Okay. But we are more interested in dealing with the underlying condition because the aphrodisiacs have been known, and we are seeing a lot of young men coming down with kidney problems from excessive consumption of these things. Effects on the kidney, the liver, and these tend to be irreparable unless you can afford dialysis if it gets to that point for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know. So that is erectile dysfunction.
Right.
But when it comes to male infertility, it's a matter of, is the man producing enough sperms? Are the sperms normal? Are the sperms moving well so they can reach the egg when they are released in order to fertilize the egg?
It cannot reach the egg. Okay. Are there any risk factors? If it runs in your family, are you likely to go through it?
So if you look at the causes, some of the causes, okay. So for the testes to produce the sperm, the signal comes from the brain.
Okay.
Brain produces some signal that flows through the blood, and then the testis has the sensitivity to pick that the signal and then start producing. So sometimes, in a few cases, that signaling in the brain is defective, and now you're born with it. If it's detected, we can do some medications to correct it, to improve it, some injections. But fortunately, that's in just a minority of cases. A large majority, the problem is with the testis. Now, the risk factors, you say, would be some environmental factors.
Okay.
A lot of which revolve around lifestyle. Okay?
Okay.
So, if, for instance, the testes are exposed to a lot of heat, okay? So, when God created the human body...
Doc, I would want you to hold on for me. We went on the streets yesterday, actually, in preparation for this discussion today. We asked a question, and these were the answers that we got. Take a look. We'll be right back.
Na yare bia abeto bema no enti nia ese menene mienu ye ne se yetu ana monko hospital, but at times no ya na hospital no emma first ya na ono ankasa bema no complaini ono hu se ni hu nsuo na aba fom ti na enti me wo ba no na o complaini na ma waro de dada na wonwo na ti sei obe wona family no so ebem se ne ebe ya ede atete no ebe brewo oba no eye me a min jai miku
me wale na se me wale be ma na mi se ne hunsuo ne ngo ba min ja no ye be ko hospital anse bi asoka wusu na ngo ba nka bi a won ja o se no de ho aduro wo ho eno de ho aduro wo ho ti se wokọ na se ka se wonu aduro no kura no wo ngo de a na obetim ni na ja na wakọ wale foforo no wawo na akọ na se doctor na ka se wonu aduro no betim wo ba de a ene no wa one na tra na wa wanu aduro no
ban sanso a se check up na fi se me kona se betim nya aduro dia support oba na be man nkeye ba eni ba bre ntem empem bebre no eya asem tu pa ye pentem bua tem etina yɛyɛ ayɛ ɛyi na ma ɔnkae sɛ first nyɛ saa nnɛti o bɛkyerɛ no ɛna aba ne saa tikamɛsrɛ sɛ nkɛ ba ne saa no a yɛn nyina bɛkɔ adwem bɛnkurom na yɛyɛ dɛ sɛ aduro bi na ɛne yɛbɛfa na dɔkta bi ne bɛhwɛ no sɛ ɔbɛhwɛ na saa na mɛtumi aba a mefi sɛ kane mu bɛyɛ dɛ ɛbɛboa.
Quite interesting, Doc, that people on the streets are actually agreeing that if the man has a problem like this, then of course we can go and seek medical help. But oftentimes, the men don't even talk about it. I chanced on a little video last week. There was a gentleman going to the doctor to see a gynae, and it was a female. But when he got there, he was like, no. The problem that he has, he cannot tell her, so he would prefer a male doctor. So just when she started to tell him that, no, I'm a professional, I can do this, then he was ashamed and standing there. Is it an ego problem?
Well, I mean, it's also largely because in our part of the world, a lot of the gynecologists are male, and it tends to be the reverse elsewhere. And so they are not. I mean, people are surprised to see female gynaes here, but and of course, some women would also prefer female gynaes. Some too prefer. I mean, so it's just a socio-cultural thing. Yeah,
I see.
But of course, every gynae is professional to deal with the problems, either male or female.
Right.
Yeah.
We've been able to establish the problem. You've explained to us the causes and all that. People on the streets are also willing to go and seek clinical help. But tell us, what can you do if you have, number one, erectile dysfunction, and then number two, infertility?
Yeah. Good. So we need to relate that to the risk factors we talked about, so that if the testes are exposed to a lot of heat, it affects its ability to make the sperms, right? And other times, infections, including some of the STIs, can cause blockage in the tract, where the sperm would have to travel through to get out, okay? Other times, when we exposed to radiations, maybe in your line of work. Recently, we are even learning that when you keep the laptop on your lap for men, there's some micro radiations that could affect the testes and the sperm production. The long distance driving.
So like I'm sitting here right now. If it's a male doing this every day,
I would say watch it.
How about me, a female?
That hasn't been established yet, but I mean, probably because your ovaries are also down there in the lower abdomen. Yeah.
Wow.
But that hasn't been scientifically proven yet. But for
the males,
we're
it's
getting
been
some
proven.
concerns. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And working in a very hot environment in general, maybe a factory hand or very long distance driving, because you're sitting and then the balls are exposed to a lot of heat. Some men, when they wear very tight underwears, the testes are supposed to operate at a temperature which is lower than the rest of the human body. Okay. So if God himself put it outside so that and you wear very tight things that will squeeze it to the rest of the body, you are exposing it to more. Exactly. And sometimes, the blood vessels we have, there are some around the testes and they get swollen. And that makes too much blood around the testes. And the blood has a long, that one. So the blood.
So which one? The one to the left or
the one
to the right?
left, you can see that there's some worm-like appearance there. It's called varicocele. It's an abnormal swelling of the blood vessel, and so that makes the temperature a little higher. The second one is just to open it for you to see the blue. The left is normal.
So when you see this, it's super abnormal.
It's abnormal.
And can cause infertility.
Yeah, it affects the ability of the testes to make the sperms. So we may have to do a bit of surgery, some minor surgery to clip off some of those excess blood vessels, right? Okay. As a way of trying to solve the problem. Okay. And of course, sometimes some cancers would need some surgery, and then you may need radiation. That form of radiation or chemotherapy would finish off the testes and you cannot be able to conceive or impregnate a woman later on. In which case, we then have to maybe take some of the sperms and freeze them before the man goes through this treatment, just so that after the treatment, we don't lose that ability to.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Can lifestyle change adjustments also improve your rate of fertility if you're suffering from male infertility?
Absolutely. So that's the first starting point.
Okay.
because, like I said, if you're exposed to a lot of heat, you bath hot water every day, wearing very hot and dark or black underpants every day, sitting in the hot water every day is heat. Heat, constant heat exposure to the testes. So again, that can be modified. Healthy eating, because if you're obese, it affects your hormones that signal the testes to produce the sperm. So lose a bit of weight, get more active, eat healthy, avoid a lot of junks and processed foods, a lot of sugar. If you've been diagnosed of diabetes, hypertension, or high cholesterol, do take the treatment seriously and religiously. And then come forward. The problem really is the men do not like to come forward.
That's the challenge.
So we can assess.
That's the issue.
You see, everybody, including the in-laws and church people, everybody in society is the woman. So when is the baby coming? So everybody automatically pushes the issue to the woman. And so the men kind of enjoy some cultural, diplomatic immunity. Meanwhile, like we have established, up to half of the cases could be relating to the man.
Yeah.
So if they come together as a couple and then we investigate, we're able to figure out where the problem is. We solve it. Problem is solved. Everybody is happy. Babies come. Family grows.
Are there over-the-counter medications for things like this, or they are purely prescribed all the time?
So you can establish that it is hard to tell from this man A, man B, what is causing your infertility.
Okay.
And so there is no one size fits all. So we need to assess that, okay, yours, when you come, we do what we call the sperm count or semen analysis. We want to see how many sperm cells are you producing in 1 ml of the fluid that comes when you ejaculate, which is called the semen. You need at least 20 million sperm cells. 20 million. And they have to be normal. So how normal are your sperms? Now, some of the sperms are not normal. Some have 2 heads, some have 2 tails, some have a small head.
If you want to go to the board, it's fine to
Yes.
show us which ones are normal
Great.
and
So
which ones are not normal.
So show me the next slide.
Okay. Danny, please, he wants the next slide.
Yes,
Okay.
very well. So this is a normal sperm, okay? It has that oval head, and this is the neck, and this is the tail. So the tail swings like that to give the sperm energy to swim up the female birth canal. This is abnormal. The head is still big. This will be unable to fertilize an egg, or if fertilize an egg, the baby would be abnormal.
Wow.
This is abnormal. The head is too small. This has 2 heads. It's just abnormal. This has 2 tails. That shouldn't be. This head is pointed. This head is like a coil. And that tail is not, that neck is not straight. So a whole host of abnormalities can result from the sperm production. Okay? And so we do the analysis to see, is it about your sperm count, just the numbers, or is it about you having too many of them being abnormal? Then medications to correct what the defect is.
Doc, but what causes low sperm count?
So low sperm count may be from heat exposure to the testes. That's one.
Still heat.
Still heat.
Okay.
Abnormal, like the weight. Obesity is one, right? And other medical conditions. Now, somebody may have had, you know what we call mumps, when the jaws are swollen. Somebody may have had that infection before, maybe as a young boy. And if it's not dealt with properly, some of that virus goes to harbor in the testes.
No way.
And that damages the testes. So they are grown up now, and the testes is not able to produce sperms. Okay. Sometimes the low count is because the sperm is being produced all right, but it's not able to travel out for us to see. So it is stuck in the testes. So then that takes us to how we manage them.
Okay.
Right? So if we assess and we're able to tell that your problem is from the number of sperms is too low, medications to improve it are there. Other times it is the movement which is not good. We have specific medications to try to improve the movement. Other times the fluid that comes contain no sperm cells at all.
So that's the question I wanted to ask you, that how does a man know that he's got low sperm counts? Because after ejaculation, you can see maybe there's a lot of fluid out there.
Yeah.
So how do you convince me or tell me that he's suffering from low sperm count?
So that's only determined when we analyze whatever is coming. You see, and that can only be done in a hospital.
So it could be just empty semen.
Oh, we see a lot of that.
Coming out.
Yes,
Nothing
and that's what we call the
it.
azoospermia. So the fluid comes all right, but there is no single sperm inside. And it could be that the testes are not producing the sperms, or it is being produced but stuck. That track is blocked.
But as a man, are there any signs and symptoms you can actually see and know that, no, I think I'm suffering from low sperm count?
No.
You cannot.
Because this is microscopic. We need to look under the microscope to see.
So it can only be clinically proven.
Exactly.
And even the types of sperms that you're talking about, two heads, it's abnormal here and there.
Yeah.
You as a man or you as a human being can never tell unless you go to the clinic.
Yes, this is microscopic diagnosis.
Okay.
Okay. So based on what we find, then appropriate intervention.
Not even when you think that your semen is too watery or too thick.
So very occasionally, some men are able to tell that, when I was younger, it used to be thicker. Now it's a lot watery. And that brings them forward.
Okay.
And then you check and you realize, yeah, indeed, the count is low. But that's not a very reliable way. Whatever the problem is, it has to be done scientifically so we can be sure.
Right.
And in solving the problem, sometimes, if it is low, then we may just need to take the sperm, give the woman some medication so that she also ovulates, and then we have to push the sperm all the way into the uterus, just so we reduce the distance of travel for the sperm. Right. Other times, the weakness in the sperm movement or the count is so low that we need to take the woman's eggs, take the sperm and fertilize it in the lab. That's what we call in vitro fertilization. Right. So we form the pregnancy before we put it back inside the womb.
Doc, you have to come back next week. Is that okay?
That's fine.
A lot of people are out there who want to call us, who want to interact with you, but unfortunately we cannot do it today. So we'll just pause here. Please remember where you left off next week when you come back. But Dr. Promise E. Sephora, he is a consultant, obstetrician, and gynecologist. He specializes in male and female fertility. He's back here again next week, Wednesday, to expatiate more on this very topic. We have a lot more coming up here. Don't go anywhere, Doc. Thank you so much for your time. In the meantime, is there any number someone can call you on before you come next week? Can I give this number out?
Yeah.
Which one? The
0302.
Okay, so it's 0302 6318880. 0302 6318880. You can call Doc on this number. Prepare all your questions if you're unable to reach him till he gets here next week. Thank you so much, Doc. Have a pleasant day. We have a lot more coming up here on TV3 New Day. Please don't go anywhere.